evening, everybody. My name's Victoria Haigh. This is the very first podcast that I've done. I've been planning this a while, and obviously, for those who don't know who I am, about 15 years ago, I fell into the system of child protection, family court, and I have decided to do a deep dive investigation on where it all began. The introduction: for over 2 centuries, custody laws and family court practices have shaped the lives of mothers and children in ways that remain deeply controversial today. My purpose today is to explore the historical roots of these laws, the current challenges, and why transparency and accountability are urgently needed. In Victorian England, the doctrine of coverture meant that a married woman's legal identity was absorbed into her husband's. She could not own property, sign contracts, or claim custody of her children. This is actually something that I only recently found out. Children were treated as the father's property. If a marriage broke down, the mother had no legal right to see her children. I find this absolutely incredible, but completely understandable. Change began with Caroline Norton, a courageous woman whose personal struggle sparked reform. After being denied access to her children, she campaigned tirelessly, publishing pamphlets and lobbying Parliament. Her efforts led to the Custody of Infants Act 1839, which allowed mothers to petition for custody of children under 7 years old. Later, the Guardianship of Infants Act 1925 introduced the principle that the child's welfare should be paramount, but even then, proceedings remained secret and paternal bias lingered. Fast forward to the Children's Act 1989, which enshrined the welfare principle and gender-neutral standards. On paper, custody decisions are child-centred, not parent-centred. Yet the myth persists, even to this very day, that mothers automatically get custody. In reality, courts decide case by case, and shared care is often encouraged. But here lies the problem. The presumption of contact, intended to retain relationships with both parents, can overshadow safeguarding concerns, especially in cases involving abuse. Family courts operate behind closed doors. Reporting restrictions were designed to protect children, but they also silence mothers and shield systemic failures from public scrutiny. Consider the case of me, Victoria Haigh. I was named in Parliament under privilege, lifting the gag order that was put on me, only to face relentless backlash. My story is not unique. It is a symptom of a system that punishes those who speak out. Today we see troubling patterns. Mothers reporting abuse can lose custody, and in many cases they do lose custody. Protective measures like non-molestation orders intended to shield women from violent men are sometimes misused to keep mothers away from their children, as in my case. The law was passed in Parliament purely to protect mothers from abusive men. Research by Women's Aid and studies from Manchester University confirm systemic failures in safeguarding and accountability. The secrecy of family courts perpetuates entrenched attitudes that date back 200 years. So my podcast, basically, I'm going to do a deep dive. I've got some wonderful ladies, published ladies, that have, one has agreed when she sees how my podcast is going to come on and talk to me. She's a professor, and only today I found this book, which is How to Kill a Witch. I don't know if you can see that, but we're going to go back to the witch trials, and we're going to investigate the witch trials. I'm going to read this book. It's a guide for the patriarchy, and it's been written by Claire Mitchell, KC, and Zoe Venditosi. I hope I'm saying her name right. And it's about the witches in Scotland. So that's basically an introduction as to what I am going to be doing. I have so many subjects and cases and women and authors and professors that are going to accompany me along the way with this deep dive of the persecution of mothers. What I found intriguing is the witch hunts and the women's oppression, is that midwives were feared and considered dangerous by patriarchy, which was it's incredible, because they are the professionals, if you like, that bring the newborns into the world. And it I'll read you what I wrote about witch hunts and women's oppression, because that's where we are going to start. That's going to be the deep dive of the witches. Women who were healers, midwives, or simply independent were seen as dangerous. Patriarchal society feared female autonomy, and witchcraft accusations became a tool of control. So the witch trials were not random acts of superstition. They were systematic. Records show that 80 to 90% of those accused were women. Often they were poor, widowed, or outspoken. It's without a shadow of a doubt, I would have been tried as a witch back in the day. Accusations reinforced male dominance. Women were silenced through terror, and families were torn apart. This wasn't just about religion, it was about power. And, you know, I've done a lot of investigating over the years about the situation. We're going to cover everything in all the podcasts. This is just really an introduction to my channel, because it's just a short one. What happened to children when mothers were accused? Many were orphaned, placed in poorhouses, or handed to others. This was the beginning of state intervention in family life, a pattern that echoes even today. The witch hunts planted the seed for institutional control over motherhood, which later evolved into laws and systems that still affect families. To understand this better, we'll speak to historians who study gender and power. They'll explain how witch hunts shaped cultural attitudes towards women and motherhood, and why these attitudes linger. So this is the lady that I've been in contact with, and she has agreed, she wants to see how my podcast goes, and she would like to help. I won't say her name at the moment, but she's an expert on witch trials and gender history. So witch hunts weren't just about superstition, they were about power, and that power shaped laws and attitudes that still echo today. So this, obviously, this is just an introduction, and I want you to share this podcast. I'm going to plan one every single week. I'm going to start reading this, and I'm going to talk about this. And I've actually been in touch with the authors of this. I'm awaiting a response. So I will, over the weeks as well, go into my story. A lot of it is on Google, obviously, because I became quite well known. I just wanted the truth to be told, and like anything, once you start talking about the truth and getting the truth out there, the people that run the systems, which are heinous for children and for mothers, they don't obviously want the truth to get out there. And we all know now today that the media, the mainstream media, is controlled by the very same people that are profiting from these systems that are in place, these government systems. And I couldn't believe what was happening to me, because I was brought up in a normal working class family, 3 elder sisters, fantastic parents, and we were always brought up to, if we were in trouble or there was a crime, to report it to the police. That the government were there to look after us and help us have a nice family life. But when you fall into one of these systems, and it's not just the family courts, you know, there's a lot of this NHS system, for example, and I really want to go into many aspects of you know what the system does, how it does work, how it's silencing everybody. What, you know, the first thing they do is they try and bankrupt you, they discredit you, they smear your name, they accuse you of being mentally unstable, and if you manage to get through all of that, you know, they try and imprison you, they put orders on you. It's very difficult, you know. If you look at other people, like the Canadians, when they were protesting with the lorries, all their bank accounts got frozen. And you know, I know many stories of every, the government arm has tentacles in everything. I know one woman, she had a driving license, like something to do whatever, they made something up, so they block you from being able to function in your normal day-to-day lives. But many women, they don't understand, they take it personally, and they can get a lot of illnesses from or the stress that's caused by, you know, having your children taken away, being dragged through court, the abuse from the ex-partner, the litigation abuse, the trauma of not seeing your children. You know, all of this is by design to weaken you so that you can't fight. Because if this has been going on for over 200 years, and all the system pretty much stays the same, it looks like a law's been changed here, and people are you know, protesting here, and we've got the lawyers, and we've got these people, and everybody thinks that everything's changing. And the one of the things that I say is that Claire Throssell, that had her 2 boys, it's a terrible, terrible, terrible tragedy. You know, that poor lady, and I do communicate sometimes with Claire. You know, she fought for 10 years to get some kind of law changed, and now the presumption of contact has been put in place because of Claire's work with a few MPs and things that have been helping her to protest and try and change the system. But the problem I have with the presumption of contact is like when they passed the non-molestation law to protect women from abusive men, because they can make things up in family court and say that, you know, you've drugged your boys, for example. There's a book out there, 2 books, where a mother was accused of drugging her boys when in fact it was the father. She was trying to protect them from severe abuse. The problem is, if the family court stays secret, then they can use the presumption of contact against the mother. So I don't actually think that particular law, because every law that they pass, they just switch it and use it against the mother. So basically, what we do need is an entirely new system. The system that's in place now is working for those that want it to work like it's working. But for us, the ordinary loving mother, it's not doing anything like helping us. It's damaging society. If a woman is not able to nurture her own children, the society is going to become a whole load of psychopaths, which basically is what's happening at the moment. There's not a lot of empathy around the system that is the child protection system, because the things that these social workers, CAFCAS workers, judges are doing to little children and loving mothers, protective loving mothers, is abhorrent. And we need to fight the system. We need to chop off the head. We can't just, stop that. The head of this system needs chopping off. So I'm going to try and keep my podcast going for the year. I have set a goal to get 100,000 followers by the end of the year. And hopefully I'm not going to get thrown off, because everything I've done podcasts on Sean Atwood's channel. I've done interviews with Sean and Ron, and when I appeared on those channels, Sean lost his channel, so he had to delete a lot of videos. One of them was mine. And then when I went on with Ron, when my name comes up, the channel was demonetized and shadow banned. So, but all my channel's about really is a deep dive, an investigation into women's history. And I need the women that are going to become mothers, that already are mothers, to be educated into not believing the system is there to help us and protect us, because this is happening every day in a family court. There's a lot more I want to say, but I'm going to keep it short today. It's just an introduction. I'm going to go into lots of different parts of the system and open everybody's eyes very wide, so that when they do start a family, they're under no illusion that this can happen to them, unless we all get together and start a revolution. That's what's needed. So it's very nice to meet you all. I think what I'm supposed to say is that you have to follow me and like and share, and we'll take it from there and we'll see how it goes. And anybody that wants to contact me, feel free. Good evening.